And I'm back. Sorry for the pause, everyone, but I got a phone call, and it ended up being random automated bullshit. So I had that. Lovely, don't you think? Just fucking lovely. Now, though, we're going to go to the Runic Hall in the Aurora Spire. And I am going to see if I can't figure out what the hell's going on here. I would like to claim that final spire, if at all possible. This is going to be mostly guessing, I have to admit. We'll see how well I can do. Oh, so my random guessing actually managed to unlock it. I was just sort of trying random shapes based on what I could see in the outline. And for the Aurora Spire, which isn't much, but we have it now. And we shall ascend to the final spire. And once again, the spire's music. It is the most beautiful and wonderful soundtrack that I've heard in this game to date, and I love it. We have unlocked the achievement All You Survey for owning every last spire in the tiers. Now familiar light of the spire's course is skyward, trailing off towards the horizon in the direction of Vendrien's well. You feel the ground beneath you fall away as you give in to the warmth of the energy surrounding you. The Aurora Spire in Gulf Globe feels violent and unsettled, like it would claw itself from the earth if it had the strength. The stones, though clean, feel slick with blood. Something of the ritual and turmoil of the stone sea has warped this isolated place over the years. You feel energy well up from the ground, and with reckless enthusiasm form a bond with Vendrien's well. Logically, I know I'm standing on solid rock, but this places my balance askew. I keep feeling the stones beneath my feet shift and roll ever so slightly. I'd say I'm losing my mind, but I'd chalk it all up to a lingering effect of the Edict of Stone. Is it me, or is the magical field of this spire in motion, churning? The place seems to come alive to your presence, just like the mountain spire did. Only here, instead of a constant arcane hum, it's more an intermittent scrape and shout. It isn't a steady hum, but an erratic choir. Waterfall, maybe. All I know for sure is that one of these days I'm going to write a treatise on the spires that'll be the envy of, well, the handful of sages still left. I can still smell the beastmen from up here. Their stench is as powerful as an edict. We have acquired the final spire, upon which I will build the training ground. Look on my works, ye mighty, achievement unlocked. And the final quest for the spires has completed. So we have only these two quests left. I must now turn to see Graven Ash at the Iron Hearth. One day since we could teleport to the Ocean Spire. Let's see. There's some animal that we encountered. I'm just going to let it be. I'm not a hunter after all, so I have no reason to be hunting. Time for us to meet up with Graven Ash and give him the good news. Well, good depending on your perspective. Tiberius doesn't consider blighting an entire realm to be a good thing, but Graven Ash probably does. Fatebinder, I felt something indescribable pass through me just before your arrival. Motions of great rage and pain, followed by a moment of lingering sorrow. I suspect that something has been lost, and Taradas herself strains at the absence. Ash winces and rubs his brow. I understand that both of the spires jutting up from the ruins of Azure are now under your control. It would seem that impossible feats are no mystery to the likes of you. Impressive for Tunon's minion. Do not allow yourself to be swept up by the esteem and glory of this achievement. Were you a soldier of mine, I would temper your pride with modesty. Are you alright, Archon? Don't concern yourself with me, Fatebinder. We have a war to fight, and I need your focus honed on our objective, no matter what. I hope that's understood. The great general just looks tired. You would be too, were you responsible for tens of thousands of lives. Still, he looks more troubled than usual. No, the disfavored and Earthshakers were triumphant and have managed to destroy Cairn. The Archon of Stone, fallen, Ash turns his gaze out to Iron Hearth, settling it on nothing. I thank you, Fatebinder. This was a long time coming. Cairn's betrayal was inexcusable, and a death sentence from a lawful hand is no more or less than he deserved. What's more, you are to be commended for resolving an Edict of Kairos and putting down an Archon at once. He pulls on the end of his beard and frowns. You don't sound very pleased about this, though. I do not always find war pleasing. especially in these dark days, when it is thrust upon me and former allies show their true colors. At times I want nothing more than to see home again, but even home has its memories. I would never have called the Archon of Stone a friend. Cairn was a difficult man to know, taciturn and removed, keeping to himself as often as not, but we had much in common. When you are an Archon, that is a quality you learn to cherish in others. Oh no, I am not pleased. I make no secret of it. I am sorrowful and cruel. Even though the Archon needed to die, that does not stop me from wishing it were otherwise. Well, on to the next order of business, then. What happens to the Scarlet Chorus, and where do we go from here? The crops grown for our enemies will have withered on the vine. By now the Archon's forces are clutching their stomachs and tightening their belts as we starve them out. Ash stands tall and beams at the thought. We receive something, and the Stone Sea region is controlled by the disfavor. A fair reward for more than fair service to the Legion. Ash nods with gratitude and hands you a heavy hammer wrapped in cloth. The Earthshakers and Forgebound conceived of this, and I can think of no wielder more deserving than you, Fatebinder. Well, thank you, but I won't be getting much use out of it. Fatebinder. Breathless, the officer snaps to attention. No time for pleasantries or ceremony. Your Spire is under attack. Scarlet Chorus have ramped up their offensive, and they mean to topple your stronghold, with you atop it if need be. I feared something like this might happen. An act of desperation from the voices of Narat. He's either too much of a coward to attack Ironhearth, or his forces are too weak. Either way, you'll need to answer this threat with blood. I'll be off at once, then. Fatebinder regardless. You ended an edict, and now you have ended an Archon. I know none in this court had such expectations for you when the Adjudicator initially brought you among us. So many surprised us in so short a span. You fascinate. While he lived, Cairn was a singular being, a titanic man born of the womb of Taratus herself, to hear some tell it. While none still living can provide account to that birth, you bore witness to his demise. Indeed, you precipitated it. I ask that you indulge my scholar's curiosity. What passed between you and the Archon of Stone in those final moments? Did the ground tear itself asunder as a widow rends her garments? Did the mountains groan a panegyric to their champion? Were there any final words from Cairn, spoken or inscribed? Does the crystal that reportedly protrudes from the cliff face throughout Azure still glimmer, or has it darkened? That's bragging. We're not going to do that. Save the land and spare Cairn? No, we will describe the blighted land. How does one depict the death throes of a nation? In the Edict of Stone, Kairos consigned Cairn to his doom, and in the ritual, the Earthshakers spread that execution across the entire region, and life drained from the soil even as it faded from Cairn's eyes. One could verily feel the stone trying to leech my own life from me, as if I'd eaten stale bread when I already thirsted for a flagon. We mark this place, and it may never recover. Indeed. And now, we need to make our way to Vendrien's well, and deal with the Scarlet Chorus, who have apparently decided to attack us for our alliance with the disfavored. Vendrien's well. And now, go there and address the Scarlet Chorus in the only means they understand, through the liberal application of sharp pointy sticks. If only they understood negotiation or diplomacy better than being stabbed. Sadly, it's not the case. Greetings, Fatebinder. Iron Marshal Irenios. Hey, Irenios, it's been a while. We haven't seen you since the assault on Vendrien's well all the way back in the prologue. It's good to see you again. The Iron Guard salutes you with a clattering salute. Our oathbound scouts alerted us to a chorus assault on your spire, and Lord Ash insisted we send aid at once. I've assembled a... The massive sculpture rumbles, shaking the masonry of the spire and sending her off balance. That'll be the Scarlet Chorus butting in. The orb in the center of the resonator spins with the push of some unseen force. Where the structure once exuded warmth, now it gives off a ferocious heat that singes your face the longer you stare into it. Sound like music swarms in the air around the structure, but it's painful and disharmonious to your ears. My Kairos' hairy backside. Ebb covers her ears and takes a step back from the structure at the center of the spire. That music! It's awful! Feels like my teeth are ripping their way out of my mouth. Don't you hear it? He attempts to sign a rune only to see her pattern fizzle into steam. That is your name. Listen real close. And it's your name said over and over until it's just one mystic wail. The spire is now fully awake. Its long dormant currents of energy dance to your presence. Crouching to the ground to steady yourself, Irenios stays low to the ground until the trembling subsides. Feels like something is shaking the spire. The chorus can't pull off that sort of magic. What in Kairos' name is going on? Okay. Well, the spire has often in the past communicated with me through visions. This may be its way of saying it has something to discuss. I don't suppose this magical spire of yours has some warding magic or something of that ilk? He points down towards the chorus troops amassing below. Unshakable courage and superior training will only take us so far against so large a force. Let's see. Let me think. I'll handle this. Whatever you're pondering, it had better work. And Regalis has replied, unless I am much mistaken, and I am very rarely mistaken, I detect in your words remorse. Empathy, though an admirable trait, is wasted on the undeserving. One profits from fretting over the fates of the seditious no more than one profits from concerns over the pain suffered by the murderer consigned to the headsman's axe. Eros has branded greater lands than Azure with the lingering effects of edicts. We celebrate such destruction no more than we celebrate a verdict of guilt. And no more, no less the currency by which we purchase order and peace. Thank you for your response and continued service. And now, I must use the resonator. Next, to that end, I will save my game. And this is interesting. We have both favor and wrath with the Bronze Brotherhood. Oh. The Stone Stalker tribe doesn't like us because we basically slaughtered them. The mystic hum of the spire pulses to the cadence of your heart. The ancient structure awaits your command. There's so much that doesn't make sense. Your allegiance to Ash is shaping you in some fashion. You've established some sort of mystic link to this Spire. Now, I'm no expert on magic, but I can't help but like it to the General's mystic link with me and the rest of his warriors. The air ripples with heat and the spires hum. A low chanting of your name echoes through your head. Well, I'm honestly not sure who's in control here. Is the Spire enhancing my powers, or am I fueling its power? Your mind drifts to bygone days and past events, along with a rush of memories you know is your own. A surge of images, voices, and pangs of joy and sadness, either long forgotten or remembered by someone else. The cloying weight of granite over your head, the pressing slabs of genesis against your chest, these memories of Cairn now live in your mind, as does the recipe of his undoing. Pinpricks of electricity spark behind your eyeballs. The slightest breath in fills your lungs with a rush of moist air. You move to brush rust and bronze dust from your skin, only to realize the sensation is just a phantom itch of the blade grave. And they say only the Overlord can create an edict. It has never been clear if the Overlord can destroy an edict, and when an edict is resolved, what becomes of the colossal quantities of mystic energy bound into said edict? The moment you uttered the question, I could see your attention wander off. Did the Spire share anything enlightening? Kairos' edicts make sense to me now. The Spire can amplify my voice and power. I'm confident this will work. But only the Overlord has the power of the edict. The Iron Marshal shakes her head with a sigh. But I am a woman of swordplay and tactics, not magic. What you say is true. Perhaps it is Kairos' will that you can do this. The sensation of power that was first a pressure in your lungs now surges with each beat of your heart. All of the tears look upon the spires and think of you. Their fear, their admiration, their terror. With the Spire, all of this can be harnessed and used to your purpose. The edicts you've encountered are to crowd into your immediate memory. Whatever splinter or fragments of the edicts you helped resolve have taken root, flowering into your mind as intuitive understanding. Enough navel-gazing. I know what I need to do. As you touch the stone structure, your sense of the moment slows, and you feel the entirety of the tears at your fingertips. The Spire stands ready to channel your will. Vendrien's well. We can issue the Edict of Storms or Stone. I'll go with storms. I think a torrential lightning storm would be more likely to help us address the problem of the chorus with less collateral damage, because we don't want to turn the land into what the Stone Sea was. So wiping them out